Imagine a complete reset. New cars, new power units, new rules, new limits. For most drivers, 2026 feels like a looming storm. Unpredictable, dangerous, career-defining. But for one driver, it might be an invitation. Because while Formula One prepares to reinvent itself in 2026, there's a growing belief inside the paddock that Max Verstappen's driving style wasn't just surviving the next regulation reset, it was built for it. And today, we're breaking down why. Not with hype, not with fan bias, but with cold, uncomfortable truth. Because by the end of this video, you'll understand why the very changes designed to level the grid might actually hand Max Verstappen a brand new advantage. Stay with me. Formula One's 2026 regulations are not a small tweak. They are one of the most aggressive resets in modern F1 history. Lighter cars, active aerodynamics, reduced downforce, shorter wheelbases, a near 50-50 split between electrical and combustion power. And perhaps most importantly, drivers will be asked to manage energy, grip and balance manually more than ever before. That last part, that's where this story truly begins. Because Formula One is quietly shifting away from aero dependency and back toward driver influence. And Max Verstappen thrives when the car gives less help. Let's rewind for a moment. Over the past few seasons, Verstappen has repeatedly proven something that most fans overlook. He is not dominant because the car is stable. He is dominant because he is comfortable without stability. Where most drivers want a planted rear, Max is happy with rotation. Where others want predictable balance, Max prefers a knife edge. Where most drivers lift to regain control, Max adds precision. That trait matters more in 2026 than people realize. Because with reduced aerodynamic grip, drivers will no longer rely on downforce to save mistakes mid-corner. Active aero will switch modes, power delivery will fluctuate, and the car will demand constant micromanagement. This is not about raw speed anymore. This is about control under chaos. And Verstappen has spent his entire career mastering exactly that. Think about his corner entries. Max doesn't just brake late, he brakes decisively. He uses trail braking to rotate the car early, pointing the nose exactly where he wants before most drivers are even settled. In a high downforce era, that skill was impressive. In a low downforce future, it becomes lethal. Now add energy deployment. In 2026, drivers will manually manage when and how electrical power is deployed and harvested. This means throttle modulation, exit timing, and short shifting will matter more than ever. This isn't push to pass. This is chess at 300 kilometers per hour. And if there's one thing Verstappen has proven repeatedly, it's this. He reads races faster than anyone else on the grid. Quick pattern interrupt. Be honest. How many times have you watched Max gain 2 car lengths out of a corner and thought, how did he do that with the same car? Yeah, exactly. That's throttle discipline. That's exit control. That's instinctive energy management, years before the rules even demanded it. And here's where fear enters the equation, because most drivers coming into 2026 will be learning these skills. Max has already internalized them. From karting to F1, Verstappen has always raced with minimal electronic safety nets. He grew up correcting slides instead of avoiding them. He learned grip the hard way, through feel, not software. That matters when traction control doesn't exist. That matters when rear instability returns. That matters when wheel spin punishes lap time instead of being masked by aero. Now let's talk weight. 2026 cars are expected to be significantly lighter than current machinery. That means faster responses, quicker direction changes, and less inertia mid-corner. Sounds great until you realize lighter cars punish overcorrection. Smooth drivers struggle here, reactive drivers struggle more, but drivers who make early, minimal, decisive inputs thrive. Verstappen doesn't wrestle the car, he places it. This is why engineers often say Max drives ahead of the car rather than reacting to it. He anticipates weight transfer, he feels load building before it peaks, he adjusts before grip disappears. That skill becomes priceless in 2026. And now, mid-video reality check. If you're enjoying this breakdown, subscribe now. Because when 2026 hits and everyone suddenly starts asking, why is Max already faster? you'll want to say you saw it coming. Also hit like, not because I'm begging, but because YouTube respects engagement more than Ferrari respects strategy calls. All right, back to business. Another key shift in 2026 is braking. With reduced downforce and different energy recovery systems, braking distances will increase, lockups will return, mistakes will cost more, and guess who consistently brakes later without locking up? Verstappen. He doesn't slam the pedal, he bleeds pressure, he rotates the car under braking instead of after it. That means while others are fighting instability after turn-in, Max is already preparing for exit. And exit speed wins races, especially when top speeds are closer and DRS advantages shrink. Now here's the cliffhanger part, because not everyone agrees. Some argue that the reset will neutralize Verstappen, that new rules always create unpredictability, that younger drivers might adapt faster. But history disagrees. Every major regulation shift Verstappen has faced, hybrid tweaks, aero overhauls, ground effect returns, he adapted faster than almost anyone. Not because he memorized setups, but because his driving style is regulation agnostic. He doesn't rely on one type of grip, he doesn't need one balance philosophy, he doesn't panic when the car moves. That flexibility is rare and it's terrifying for rivals. Now let's add psychology. In 2026, pressure will be everywhere. New rules mean unknown performance. Drivers will second-guess braking points, corner speeds, energy usage. One mistake could define a season. And Max, he thrives in uncertainty. We've seen it in rain, we've seen it in safety car chaos, we've seen it when strategy collapses. He doesn't rush, he doesn't overdrive. He calculates risk faster than most drivers can process fear. That's why he crashes less than people expect. That's why rivals back out. That's why margins grow silently. Let me ask you something, and answer honestly. When was the last time you saw Max panic? Exactly. Now imagine a season where panic punishes you harder than ever. One more pattern interrupt. Comment below right now. Do you think 2026 will expose drivers or expose pretenders? I'm genuinely curious. And here's the final piece that seals this argument. Simulation. Modern F1 drivers live in simulators, but not all sims are equal. Verstappen is known for pushing virtual cars the same way he pushes real ones. He experiments, he breaks things, he searches for limits. That mindset matters when regulations are new, because while others look for safe baselines, Max looks for edges. And in a regulation reset, edges define champions. So when you put it all together, lower downforce, manual energy management, higher driver workload, less forgiveness, more instability. You don't get randomness, you get separation. And separation favors drivers who are comfortable living on the edge. Which brings us to the uncomfortable conclusion. 2026 wasn't designed for Max Verstappen, but Max Verstappen was designed for 2026. And unless something truly unexpected happens, not just in machinery but in mentality, the reset may not slow him down. It may give him room. Now before you go, like the video if this breakdown changed how you see 2026. Subscribe if you want to stay ahead of the narrative. Not chase it, and don't leave yet, because the next video on screen breaks down which teams could actually challenge Verstappen under the new rules, and which ones are already in trouble. Trust me, you don't want to miss that.